What do you think? Good job. It runs. You good? My VA swap in the next day. Kind of expensive, but we're going to show you how to do it on a budget. Because why? I can. So, as you guys can see, of course, might not be your typical XJ, but yeah, it's a beautiful disaster right there. It is a 85 AMC, not Jeep, AMC Cherokee. That was before Chrysler bought it and turned it into Jeep on its own. So AMC, here we go. This is what makes this girl so special, is the fact that AMC actually used a lot of General Motors parts, including their engines. So in the first place, we tried to just figure, okay, well, originally equipped with a 2.8 liter V6, the same as the S10s. So figure, okay, let's buy some S10 stuff for it. Let's see if we can get the swap going. But didn't work as planned. So going a different route. But back to the Jeep. So, as you guys can see, it's been sitting for a while. About 2 years. Sorry. So, as you can see, it's sitting in there. It's got its own mounts. Went ahead and changed those out. As you guys can see, those are not factory mounts. Which does run, but had a little problem with the torque converter. Trying to make it ourselves didn't really work too well. So tight fit, but heck, that is what it is. Well, basically what happened is I tried to take the old AMC torque converter for the torque flight and cut the lugs off of a turbo 350 one that I had that came on the back of this engine, and didn't quite get them lined up. Started knocking around. Obviously can't find anybody that's willing to go ahead and remake that for me. So, or they can do it cost effective. Everybody pretty much wants a pretty penny, and when you're on a budget, money goes where it needs to go, and you have to sacrifice some stuff. So that's what we got, you know. In the meantime, this engine right here, we're going to pull this bad boy out. This braking is going to go away, and or it's going to go pink. Why? Because it's for my wife, so pink for her. Okay guys, well, let me show you guys what we're going to do to fix that issue that we had. You know, I think all honestly, that V8 might be a little bit too much power for that torque flight. So instead of blowing it up, instead of messing up and then having to redo it again, or possibly try to find an old AMC torque flight transmission that'll fit this, that's 4-wheel drive and all that, I'm gonna replace it with something stronger. So let me show you what we got. Okay, so what we have right here is a turbo 350 connected to a NP203 transfer case out of a 78 3500 Chevy pickup, 4x4 of course. And well, would love to go the route of putting in this 203 because for one, it's easier, it's already bolted together, but then we'll have all-time 4-wheel drive. Second problem that we have is the actual output is on the wrong side of the vehicle. So it's either swap that front axle, which again is going to cost more money, more time, or go ahead and go with something else. And I'll show you guys exactly what we're going to go ahead and go with. But this bad boy right here, we're going to go ahead and save that for a project for another time. You guys are going to like to see what we're going to put in that one. So for another time, that 203, once I get my hands on a 205, yeah, it's going to go for a future build on another vehicle that we're going to do once we finish this old beautiful disaster right here. All right, start back in the garage. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and show you, pardon the mess over here, because just like everybody else, ain't perfect, you know. Sometimes you can work in the garage, sometimes you don't. But for right now, I'll show you guys what we got going on. All right. So this here is a NP 242 transfer case out of I believe a Grand Cherokee from the guy I bought it from. Purchased this thing about $100. What we have here is the gasket, of course, the brand new output shaft seal for the TH350, the adapter slash mount that goes between the 350 transmission and the 242 transfer case, along with a new planetary input gear that goes inside of the MP242. You know, what's actually going to help us is this advanced adapters kit. All right, if you guys are curious, here's the number. All right, so this kit, by installing it, will actually turn around and let us bolt directly to that Turbo 350, and then still have the driver's side drop, of course, that we need. So decisions, right? You know, you've already made up your mind. You want a V8 in your X-Shake. Who wouldn't, right? Now the problem is, how are you going to do it? And yes, there are already a ton of videos of people putting LSs in and swapping over their stuff. But do you have the money for that? I know I don't. So, what next? Do you live with your 4-cylinder? We all know the 4.0 inline 6 is a great engine. It's great. Lasts a long time, plenty of power for the Jeep, especially if you re-gear it. Once you lift it and put bigger tires, still performs adequately well, and it's notoriously reliable. So, what are your options left? Well, if you happen to have the 84 through 86, sorry, text message. If you happen to have the 84 through 86 XJs, those were actually AMC built, the original creator of the XJ. So, that being said, with the 84 to 86, you had two engine options. One that everybody refers to as the Iron Duke, the 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder, or if you were kind of unfortunate, just my opinion, don't crucify me on this, but basically I'll take a inline 4 any day over a 2.8 liter V6. For a V6, it's pretty sorry on the power, not much of an upgrade from the 4-cylinder, and they got a lot of problems. Like, seriously, I know. I had one. I'm saying had because, well, we're in the process of changing it. So, that being said, where do you go next? What do you do? Where are your decisions? Well, if you're fortunate enough like me to have an old AMC XJ, well, a lot of these parts are General Motors parts. So your alternators, your power steering pumps for one, will directly cross over. Basically, they will bolt in place on an older V8 because why? They're the same parts. They work. So going down that road, where next? You know, not everybody has all this money like these bigger YouTubers that are putting brand new LSs in there, you know, an LS 6.0 or even a 5.3. Where do you go? You got a couple options. One, go that route, spend the money on buying the adapters, adapting it to your transmission, going from there, and buying the, you know, engine mounts. They do sell them, I believe, and don't crucify me because if I don't pronounce it right, but I think it's Novak builds and sells some engine mounts for the LS and for a 350 to put in there, so you can either put a 5.3 liter or the 6.0 liter in there. Now, you've made that decision. What do you do from there? Well, that's up to you. Do you go new? If you have the money, great. Go buy a new crate one. If not, spend some time, pull one from the boneyard. You know, hopefully you get a good one. Hopefully you get one that's not damaged, and with a little bit, you can go ahead and put it together. Now, that being said, you can also go the route that I'm going, and I mean cheap. Like the V8 that's currently in her, I think maybe $60. And you're like, wait, $60? Yeah, $60. The story behind that is I bought me an old welder for $20 from the swap meet, and there was a guy that was wanting a welder, so I put the cables on the welder, tested it worked, hit him up, and I traded a V8, a 5.7 liter 350 from an old 85 K5 Blazer. Pulled the valve covers, everything looked all right, rocked the crank back and forth, like, all right, worst case scenario, after putting these cables on this welder, after turning it around and testing it, plus my $20 to buy it from a guy at the swap meet, seriously, I'm out $60 if it don't work. I mean, the heads alone, along with the Edelbrock intake on there, I could have sold for $60 and got my money back. So that being said, I took a chance, brought it here, opened it up, took off the oil pan, all the bearings, everything looked great on her, put her back, gave her a coat of paint, and away she went in. Now, at that point, we actually turned around and bought, well, basically me, I was like, all right, well, this old torque flight transmission that's in here has the same 60-degree bolt pattern for the Chevy V6 as it does for the S10s. So what did I do? I bought a swap kit. I bought the adapter plate to physically bolt the Turbo 350. Well, not Turbo 350. Excuse me, wrong. Crucify me. But basically, I bought this kit that allows me to bolt the 90-degree V8 bolt pattern, which is on the back of that 350, to my torque flight transmission. Well, in the long process of this, I actually ended up doing a little backyard thing, did some measurements, stuff wasn't quite right, hooked her up, she ran, but started knocking. And then just to trying to find what was knocking, it was actually the bolt pattern being off on the torque converter to the flex plate. And what it did is the whole time, instead of going circle like it should, it's actually oblong like this, and walled out the bolts. My mistake, cost me $40 for a new flex plate. Well, at that point, we kind of gave up and let her sit, and you know, she kind of went to the wayside. It's after, I'd say, about 2.5 years now. Then my wife's been on me like, when are you gonna do it? Oh, I can't wait till I have my Jeep to drive, and you know how it goes. And basically I'm finally like, yeah, you know what, you're right. So coming time to where I'm finishing up my 5th wheel renovation, and it's lining up to the next project. Well, what's on the list? Besides the old Ford, putting her back on the road, which we just finished up today, the Jeep's next on the list. So we're going to be back at it here in the next couple of weeks, and you guys get to see everything we're going to do. We're going to pull that motor. I'll show you guys the kit and everything that I did. I'll show you why it didn't work for me, and basic reason why it didn't work for me is because it needed precise measurements. You know, spinning at 3,000 RPM, it just chewed itself apart. Okay, we messed up, but now we're going the other route, the cheaper. We decided LS 5.7 350 V8. Well, I kind of like the nostalgia of having the older engine in an older vehicle. Yes, the new one's nice, but later on I'll change that thing over to fuel injection, and no harm, no foul. There are plenty of older square body Chevys that have fuel injection that I could pull it out, and you guys will see later on as to why this conversion is much easier going to the older engine versus going to an LS. Yes, the LS is nice. Yes, it's fuel injected. Yes, you can play with the computer, you can do all that stuff. Whatever, that's fine if you want to mess with that. Me, personally, I don't. I want standard, reliable, easy to use. I don't want it breaking down on my lady. She's not going to sit there playing with the computer, trying to figure it out. That's not going to happen. She just wants to get in, turn the key, it starts up, she drives where she goes. That's it. Reliability and extra power. That's it. So, that being said,